Namaste, myself Andred Manoj from class 10th and I'm from Bhavan's Arsha Vidyalaya Kakinad. I would like to show you our project H2O MAP bot, an advanced UAV based road water level calculator. Now, did you know that a lot of people get stuck in flooded or heavily rained roads? This is mainly because of the wrong anticipation whether their car can go through a flooded area or not. Maybe they might think a particular road is not that much flooded, but it might end up being an illusion, and at the end they might get stuck there because of the water level. And sometimes they might even get outside the car to understand whether they can go front or not, and they might end up getting bitten by snakes, or maybe getting in contact with contaminated water because of sewages, or even worst case scenario, they might go with the flow of the water. Now, exactly what our way of solving this is by making sure everyone has access to the data, or that is the data of all the water levels of roads nearby to them, so they can plan accordingly based on that. And we have to make sure we can give them alternate routes which are safer rather than more shorter routes. Now, other things we have to make sure to identify people who are stuck there and they have no way of contacting someone or no way of going anywhere else, and they need help from the outside. So we have to also organize those people and report those to the people who are concerned, the government or whatever it is. And also we have to make sure the government knows the whole situation. So for example, to know exactly which all places are more flooded, we can use this data to map that out and make decisions in their end also based on this. So now exactly what our approach of doing this, how we want to do this or how we can do this, is by having an unmanned aerial vehicle that goes through the paths that you have given it. If you have given it, we have to give it particular routes it has to go through, and it will go through these routes, and each X amount of meters it will stop and calculate how much water level there is, and then give it to a collective database where anyone can access this database. That means any normal person can view this data using an app or a website, or maybe even government can also use this. And this way everyone can actually understand, everyone can actually have access to this data. And also we have to make sure that this drone can recognize vehicles that are stuck by seeing how dangerous the particular road is by also using the water level calculator. And you can also add more AI based technologies to it, as it can become a very good surveillance bot. Now, there's a model that I have in mind. It has to have a good processing unit because it will have to run a lot of complex AI algorithms, and it should be powerful enough to actually have that capabilities. And also it should have an internet module so it can connect to the outside internet. It can sync its data with the global data so that everyone can access this data that is in this drone. And then also a backup storage card. It is just for backup purposes. And a laser level water depth sensor. Now this is the actual thing that will give us the data for the water level. And and the GPS, this is mainly for the pathfinding to make sure it is going through the right path. And we can also use a camera that will be trained on road images that is in the same locality. So you can make sure, like for example, GPS might be 5 meters off here and there. So you can use the camera to make sure it is in the correct road path. And then it should have a long and durable lithium polymer battery. So we have to make sure that it doesn't run off very quickly, because it has to be running for a long time, right? And it might be also much more power extensive, as a drone is power extensive, and it might be also running in windy times, right? Now exactly how it works is that it uses the camera input to understand where the road is, and it aligns itself to the roads, and it uses the GPS to route a path, and it goes to this path that is given to it by a human supervisor. And it goes through this path, and every X frequency amount of time, every X amount of meters that it has passed, it will stop, hover a little bit down, and they use a laser level sensor to understand the depth of the water in that particular point, and then update that to the SD card and also to the global database. And this, once it's there in the global database, anyone in that area can access this data and do whatever with it using this data. Now, the thing is, first of all, in the starting of it, it will need a human supervisor to make sure it understands the paths. For like, once you have to tell, okay, you can assign 5 drones and then give every drones a particular region for it to survey. And you need a human supervisor to set it up. But once it's set up, it won't need much supervising, and so it's much more automatic. And also we have to make sure that it can be overridden if there is something new or something unexpected is happening, and any kind of issues, you have to make sure it can be the movement can be overridden. And yeah, now I've made a flow chart about how basically it can work. Thank you.